SUNY Law School is here now. That's the original skyscraper City Court building. Brooks Restaurant, where the Bricklayers Union is. And this is the old court judge's clubhouse, which has the law office of Jerald Werlin, where I've been for over 20 years. Oh, I didn't bring the key. Okay, keep it on. Hopefully they'll let us in. 45-10, Astoria Realty. Look at the pretty original details up there. All right, well, here we go. Third floor. You know, a lot of very high ceilings, but then, you know, dropped ceilings. I don't know, it's original here. I found that upstairs in the water tester's laboratory when we left.
Yeah.
He said
Scales?
very suddenly.
The scales?
The scales, yes, with their scales to measure sediment in the water.
Measure it all.
Used to have a centrifuge. Yeah. Right now we're going, yeah. There's Jen and Elaine. And that's where Jerry Werlin's office is, Roberta. Somebody's at the door. There's your coffee. This is my office. Oh, did we show? Let me see something over here. We still have, oh, you don't have the video on it?
I do.
Let me see where we at there.
Do you have a cold rack on that? What? You have a cold rack?
Oh, this is,
Cold rack? Oh, okay. Oh, no, thank you. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, Jen. Already got you.
oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
Oh. Hi. You're going to be doing the court reporting. I credit the trust of people, one with the other. All right, good. So this is my office here. I've been here for 20 years. My name is Peter Dizozza. I'm an attorney with the law office of Jerald Werlin. We specialize in personal injury law, and we have a lot of adventures with individuals because our clients are individuals, where they're plaintiffs, and they have. We start, you know, many of them started off with accidents that sort of become potentially their greatest asset, but they are also injured. So there's a balance between their recovering compensation and the pain and suffering that they have to go through. So one is supposed to match the other. And we have a lot of motor vehicle claims. I always think that there's sort of two or three that professions balanced between each other, where they kind of, you know, are adversarial, but they are also somewhat working together over time. And those are the legal, the medical, and the insurance professions. Because insurance usually steps in for the responsible parties. In fact, it makes it a lot easier collecting because, you know, the individual isn't reaching into his or her own pocket in order to compensate for, you know, his or her negligence. And the idea is that the insurance coverage will allow them that protection that they've been paying for with policy premiums. So let's see. So you have some questions here. What is your full name? It's Peter Dizozza, Peter William Dizozza. I'm 54 years old. My job title is attorney with Jerry Werlin. You know, we've become friends. We've known each other since I worked for the city controller's office. I was a court representative on a sort of small scale cases, and he came in with a case that I thought was worth $2,000. He came back with like a $150,000 offer after getting negotiations with the city attorneys. When I was in law school, when at night I was in a controller's office where they're like the claims adjusters, or they're they're like the insurer almost for the city, except the city is self-insured. So the authority to settle cases comes from the controller's office with the advice of the counsel, which is like what happens in a case against, say, Allstate. They have their claims examiners, some of whom are very senior, you know, almost like they're in charge of the whole purse strings. And then the attorneys that they hire, which can also be in-house counsel, they are acting on behalf of the insurer. The law department acts on behalf of the controller. They are not paid hourly, that means, but sometimes there's outside counsel, like when things get serious, or if you want to spread some of the expenses around rather than use the in-house counsel, you go to trial attorneys, and I'm seeing that more with the transit authority, even with the city sometimes. But the the balance is there, even within the defense side. So defense is usually insurer and attorney really reporting to the insurer, and yet there's this individual out there too who did something, car accident, or could be some employee negligence, like maybe police officers, exceeding their authority or causing some kind of injury in the process of they're doing their jobs. So I've been in this profession since 1987 when I got admitted. I went to St. John's Law School. I went to Queens College for music and English with a minor in philosophy. So yeah, I've been in the profession for over 20 years. And some of the challenges are, learning. It's a practice, and we want to, be authorities on all subjects. But there's a lot of room for interpretation. There's so much language that expresses the legal position that you can, if you want to delve in deeper, you're always going to find something that says the opposite. So depends on how intensely you want to make your position. Well, so if you feel your position, you can find something to support it. I think that's true in all life activity. So it's dependent on your belief and working with objective reality. This gets closer to my overall, my purpose in life is artistic development, and some people call that like the path to enlightenment, or I call it perceiving objective reality, so that I can see what is really, for all of us, with our five senses, that we can appreciate what's happening around us, but in fact there is an objective reality apart from our perception of it. So our beliefs, which we can, as a lawyer, supplement with language, words that have already been written, other people's opinions, the way they've expressed themselves, that is the reason why the legal profession presents such challenges. You can take a risky position, but if you believe it, sometimes you believe it because it's in your gut, and that could also be a problem because your feelings are not maybe justice. Your feelings are sometimes overreactions to the force that you have felt, and then you yourself would be unjust in your response, like revenge, for instance. So it's a confrontation of our belief system and what I would call an objective reality, and also the developing reality of humanity, which is, taking a stand on what reality is. That's why I love the law and the legal profession. It's been part of my artistic development. Let's see. And the challenges are humiliation, I guess, and even humiliation on in the just the work environment, which is good. It's like an insulated place here. When you're in your own firm, humiliation can be very great, but you can also, you always learn from it, whether it's public or private. And so I have to embrace that as part of my learning experience, and also the forgetting that goes with that. So, meaning that I'm relearning the same things, and it really becomes kind of pathetic. And as we get older, I think we need to relearn, or it's a good thing things are written down, because we don't have we're not carrying the volume of knowledge that we've had the opportunity to be exposed to. And so sort of a diminishing return kind of thing as we lead toward the body's loss of presence, over time. I mean, maybe it just becomes more intense, but even physically. So yeah, I'm a firm believer in the concrete expression of ideas because there are access to them. Not only are they other people's, Shakespeare's writings are accessible to us, but they also, embodied what he learned with his experience and his exploration of interaction and his expression of it, making it available to us. Okay, so those are all sort of high nebulous concepts that I apply in our mundane world of PI, the personal injuries. Like some attorneys raise themselves into, the high finance area. The compensation could be so great. I mean, the personal injury compensation in the plaintiff's area is purely contingency. You arrive at your profit based on the recovery. So there is a great volume here. It's been a lot directed toward the brilliant mind of Jerry Werlin and the way he created a process. And some would say you just follow the conveyor belt approach. Certain people have certain tasks to do. Making the car, they only know how to do the one thing. But overall, you get to the end result, which is the trial. But along the way, you can always settle. Even after trial, there are appeals. But settlement is the main place where people compromise and the closure occurs. In the PI area, it can be kind of a low position on the legal totem pole, or it could be the very highest glorified position. The Verdict movie captures it in its most exciting, such a beautiful expression of the best of PI work. So the challenges of those, let's see, what is the most interesting case you worked on? They're all different cases, and we're sometimes confronting cases halfway done. We have big cases that involve technicalities of law and insurance. I guess it's interesting that there was a time that leased cars had tremendous insurance exposure, even though the person was only leasing the car. It turns out at one point that we had a actual car manufacturer being, personally liable. Interesting cases, often taking me to other parts of the city, learning about, different areas that we never go to. But those are cases that include things that I'm working on personally. I've been helping people over the years, so I've sort of developed some individual clients, and my clients here are clients that I have an interest in, so my own income is supplemented by developing practice in other areas, including real estate, trust and estates, recovering property from estates that have never been distributed, and clearing title, and also investigating, which I've always been attracted to because I love the private investigator stories, and the Humphrey Bogart and I guess Edgar Allan Poe development of the private eye, Wilkie Collins, and those are appealing to me. So I've been doing some investigating work with you too, Sam, like we did just a couple of weeks ago. But again, maybe for insurance purposes, but only to make a claim on the basis of how somebody passed away. But that's what the interesting thing is about working as a lawyer. It takes you to places you'd never go, and you can explore things, and you have more of at least you have a standing to ask a little bit more. And, we can go to places that we would not otherwise, like a woman's shelter. We're not going to get into that woman's shelter otherwise. Craziest thing that ever happened to you at work, home? I don't know. Crazy things. just looking around, I have to, thanks to having a picture of somebody that became a friend of mine from Jamaica. He was a client also, and I met him originally like some evening where they had a car accident. I actually drove when I used to use a car to the Bronx, and he passed away in Jamaica after living here for many years, but he was deported when he came back to the country, and I found out that his criminal record made him deportable, even though he had been providing for people here in the States, and I thought was not a bad addition, and somebody who was responsible for a lot of people here because he had children and through different, he was married, but he was also had children through other people as well. Anyway, he was then moved to Jamaica, and he eventually even passed away there, but did not. So that was a crazy thing. Other crazy things, right? When you have clients that might be in jail and being deported, but they still have claims. They have children who are under the care of the court, and you have to get the court to approve a settlement, but the parent is not available because the parent is no longer in the country. So sometimes you have a basic incident that demands recovery, but the details of the person can affect how well you can make that claim. Though the claim is a valid one, there's still a negligence that occurs, where they have a valid claim, something happened that shouldn't have happened. So that's about it. You're right, we're having cleaning, which is really wonderful. Luz comes every week and makes this place very, much better place than the rest we're going to hear for the rest of this. All right, so what else? We have the states where I passed the bar, simply New York. I practice. I could practice in the U.S. Supreme Court. I got admitted there, as well as the federal courts. I'm a lawyer primarily. I try to be objective, but of course I want to, do the best for my clients. So, as much objectivity while furthering the best interests of my client. So I come across as a, somebody with an arbitrator or negotiator. I'm a negotiator looking to resolve and looking objectively at the case. I try not to, I try not to color reality, but rather to go with the reality as it's forming between the two of us. That's actually a question. Some people are more reality shapers. My most memorable case moment, and my energy is, needs to be focused on the event. I wonder, I guess, my idea of myself in action is to say that it's in the best interest of everyone involved to resolve this case. It's not only for my client being paid a certain amount of money, but remember, you're getting compensation. Also, you're getting a release from all claims from this, from the past to the future, from this person who is making your own client, the defendant, exposed to a tremendous liability. So that's my idea of enacting my strongest case, would be to say that it's in the best interest of all. You're getting a release, and you're doing the best for your client, because that your client is now free of this claim. In fact, that gets into the bigger people fearful of being sued, and how that guides our activities, and insurance never being enough. Our $3 million umbrella coverage, but yet still we're exposed. We're become fearful of doing anything. But some people are very some people are able to show they're able to be very free with their activities, and they take these risks and they win, or and they succeed. It's like their exposure was never as great as the success that they ultimately achieved, or that they take on so much exposure to liability and to damage, and their confidence is so great that they achieve great things. So there's a balance between the two. You don't want to take you do want to take risks in this life to make things interesting and maybe to achieve more than anybody else thinks is possible. And that's about it. I don't know, about A Few Good Men. I guess there's a great performance by Jack Nicholson in that, and you see the other fellow at his height, Tom Cruise, I think, and Judge Judy. I'm not sure. I think she's related to Larry David. They seem to have a gift with their, conveying of everybody's inner desire to be a certain way. So somehow they have the same gift, Larry David and Judge Judy. Thank you very much. I hope this is something to work with, or at least as a time capsule of 2013, April 11th, 2013. I'm Peter Dizozza. Thank you. Thanks, Sam.